Joining us now on the Mason Crosby Show, Middays with Thunder, it's Thunder and Tommy, our very good friend from Acme Packing Company. He is Dusty Evely. Dusty, welcome to the show.
Gentlemen, thanks for having me. Tommy, if I would have known you were wearing a Tigers hat, man, I probably would have joined you in the parade here, but I'm going to leave you hanging solo today.
Yeah, I got this hat for a Magnum PI costume, and now I love it. Like, it's a great hat. It's very versatile. It's one of the best logos in the game. But
it is a good one.
I get asked every time I wear this hat, like, "Oh, Tigers fan?" And I'm like, "No, I'm a Magnum PI guy." And then if I talk to someone my age, they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" If I talk to someone Mitch Nellis's age, they're like, "This guy gets it."
Oh, Magnum PI, man. That was Tom Selleck, Hawaii.
You got to wear the Hawaiian shirt if you're going to wear the hat. You got to pair it, brother.
Dusty, have you ever done the Magnum PI with your Tigers hat? Have you ever done the mustache?
I probably should have. Listen, dude, I tried a mustache once. It didn't take. My wife
because you weren't wearing the Tigers hat.
She said, "Get rid of that thing immediately." Yeah. Well, I can't do the Selleck thing, man. I can only pull that off. So that's
I did a mustache, I think, once, and Mrs. Thunder just looked at me, said no, and turned around and walked.
That's how mine went as well. That is exactly how mine went.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking some time and jumping on the show. I know there's a lot to get to with our Green Bay Packers. I want to get to a bunch of the stuff you've done recently with breaking down some of that film. And I know you did some studies about how much the Jordan Love was in shotgun last week and what they need to do against the Vikings. But I want to start where everybody loves to start. The most exciting thing about our Green Bay Packers this season. What the hell are they doing still with two kickers on the roster? What are we doing here?
I mean, obviously they don't want to let go of one of them, because McManus is injured. You don't want to if you're just kind of on that, you don't want to be on the on that middle merry-go-round, the kicker merry-go-round, if they feel like they got something haversick. Part of me understands that. I also think if they had someone else to fill that spot with, you would just punt that dude to the curb. But however, but it seems like you could probably find a guy, a special teams guy or something that you could do that with. So they clearly don't feel good about McManus, but all right, man, well, get rid of McManus or get rid of Haversick. Haversick, he's got a shotgun leg for good and bad, I think. So it feels like you could find a guy like that. I understand not wanting to get stuck in purgatory, but it seems crazy. We're on 4 weeks now, 4 or 5 weeks at this point of carrying
5 weeks.
That's pretty wild.
It is absolutely wild to carry that many on your active roster, even if one is inactive on Sunday. All right, that's enough. And I don't know if you listened to LaFleur today, but you could hear in his voice that he is done with this question. He's so over it. He knows he has to answer it. He said that he said at the end of it, he said, "We have two guys we believe in." Well, if you have two guys you believe in, that means you believe in both of them. If you believe in both of them, you can get rid of one of them because you believe in them.
Yeah, he wants Malik Willis to kick field goals so bad. You can tell. It's all in on what Matt LaFleur wants.
There was years ago. Do you remember when Ndamukong Suh kicked an extra point?
Point? Absolutely.
Brother, what could Devontae Wyatt do? I'm just saying. Let's fire this up.
Don't show him the Ocho Cinco tape for Bo Melton either. Another one that you could see that happening.
Just wants to kick. I don't know whether to go running back or wide receiver. I want to start on the offensive side of the ball. Everyone not named Malik Heath at the wide receiver position on the injury report. And obviously Josh Jacobs, we know, is banged up, and Emmanuel Wilson is ready to step in. Although I know that they were going to warm Josh Jacobs up today and see how that looked. Big picture offense. How much of an excuse can we make with the injuries, and how much whether they're on their injury report on a Wednesday, how much does that translate into what they can actually do on Sunday?
I mean, I think it depends. At some point, everyone this time of the year is somewhat banged up. Watson being on there, I think Watson's just that's residual, no issues there. Wicks has had some issues. It becomes an issue when you run out of bodies, which you could argue if you've got Bo Melton out there, not in the wide receiver room, but out there running routes, then you're starting to run out of bodies. But man, you run out of bodies everywhere. Kraft is down. They brought up Wiley. Wiley did some stuff at the tight end position. You got Fitzpatrick. Musgrave can't do anything at this point. In terms of what they're asking him to do, I still think he could be a useful piece. But in terms of the wide receivers, buddy, you got to try it out who you got out there. So you can make excuses. You can always make excuses. But if guys are out there, you want them to perform at a level that you feel good about them being out there. This week, you want them in practice. It's a tough defense. Everyone's got to kind of be. Everyone's got to be on it. Everyone's got to know what's going on this week more than any other week, I think, against this Vikings team. And if you're not practicing, that's an issue. But I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I'm not going to pre-make excuses. if you start running out of bodies, that becomes an issue. And right now, I don't feel like we're there yet, but we probably get there pretty quickly. I was looking at this last night, and I was like, I don't feel great about it, man.
Yeah. And then what about the running back position? I think Tommy and I are on the record of saying, like, if you need Manny Wilson to be the man for a week or two, we feel pretty okay about that. Like, he's proven that he can play, but obviously you want a healthy Josh Jacobs for the home stretch.
Yeah, he's fine. Yeah, Wilson's fine. I think he's shown he can be fine this week. This week, I am all in on Chris Brooks, man. And that's just because I don't think it's that much of a downgrade in terms of the runner. He's a little bit more of a masher, like a bigger dude, but he's better in pass pro than anyone else on the roster. And if you're going up against a Viking team that like to blitz, that like to be unpredictable, I would prefer, all right, man, we're going to average 3.4 yards a carry instead of 3.7, but we know we're going to be nails in pass pro. I'd rather go Chris Brooks. Honestly, I'd rather go more Chris Brooks than Josh Jacobs. We know Josh Jacobs is a little banged up, but even if he's healthier than we think, I might lean a little heavier into Chris Brooks. Because it's like one thing we need to do this game, you got to pass pro. And Chris Brooks gives you the best chance to do that. Tight ends have been a little iffy. I think that's your best path forward.
Yeah, and Chris Brooks is predominantly brought in those passing situations. That's been something that Matt LaFleur's been very vocal about how good he is in pass pro as a running back for Jordan Love and for the Green Bay Packers. Well, this is now a week where he's going to face a Brian Flores defense where it's going to be a ton of blitzing. You know how it always is. They're a little banged up, and even with the blitz packages they tend to bring, they haven't gotten to the quarterback all that often. But Dusty, the Packers offensive line kind of stinks to where we thought it was going to be at this point in the season. How do you see that matchup affecting Green Bay, Jordan Love, their offense this week, going up against Minnesota's front that loves to bring pressure?
I mean, they want to confuse you. I looked this up. The Vikings, since their week 6 bye, have blitzed 57% of the time, which, like, on one hand, like, that's a lot, dude. That's a whole lot. But you can also, like, bring blitzes different ways, and, like, 5 guys straight up is different than, 5 guys or even 4 guys if you're kind of switching those guys out. I mean, that's the big thing. And part of the reason, like, I'm not super concerned is that the Packers have had issues with, like, good fronts, the guys who can bully you up front. They've not really had issues with, like, picking up games up front, the stunts, some of the blitzes. Like, they've not had a ton of issues with that. Against the Panthers, they had a couple free runners, and that was an issue, which is why I want Brooks back there. But in terms of, like, assignment, I've had less an issue with them of assignment and more issues with them, like, just getting bullied. So this week, if you're okay against the front, we have issues against the blitz, I actually kind of feel okay. Listen, I may look real dumb Sunday afternoon, real dumb, but I have less issues, I think, this week because they want to cause chaos, and I think the Packers are somewhat well suited for that. It's when you get big dudes that can push them, like, that's when they run into real issues.
Dusty Evely joining us here on the Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. And Dusty, I'm guessing you've watched a little bit of JJ McCarthy. I don't know if you've sat down and really broken him down.
Yeah.
But I think what we all hear is that, like, there are flashes of him being really good, and there are flashes of him being totally lost. What type of JJ McCarthy do you expect to see on Sunday?
That dude, he's just frantic. He is frantic. Like, he will have, when he has the throws, he's got a better arm than I thought, and he can read out a defense, like, decently well. He runs into pressure, I don't know, man, 15 times a game, where he's got a clean pocket and then everything looks good, and then he's got a guy open, and then he will just, like, take 3 steps forward and then get hit while he's throwing just because he ran into someone. And that's just been an issue with him. Like, that's been all season. So we're going to get frantic. We're going to get a couple plays. They got Addison, they got Justin Jefferson. They've got skill position guys. We know they got Aaron Jones. Like, they're going to make some plays, but also 15 times a game, he's going to run into getting hit, and he's going to throw 2 to 3 balls up. Like, that's not unique to the Packers. The Packers, I think, are in a good position, if their hands are a little better this week, to take advantage of that. But I think we're going to get the JJ McCarthy we've seen so far, which is he's going to make some decent throws. Maybe early on, we'll say, like, oh man, is this the week? And then he's just going to get frantic, and he's going to give you a couple. It's just, you got to capitalize on those when he gives them to you.
How are you feeling about the cornerback room, the defensive backs in general? A big test this week. I know Justin Jefferson been very frustrated while playing with JJ McCarthy. I think you're looking at a 40-yard difference in his average of what he has with anyone else at quarterback versus what he's putting up with JJ McCarthy at quarterback. But Jordan Addison, obviously a great number 2, and Jalen Naylor really emerging this season for Minnesota as well. Is this the toughest task so far for the cornerback room that Green Bay is rocking out there with? And is it going to be something that could really be a bad matchup in general for Green Bay?
Like, on paper, yeah, I think so, just because the talent's there. But Jefferson's been getting a little more disinterested as the season's gone on. And again, it's just JD McCarthy sailing stuff. Like if you're just looking at like the talent on paper, yeah, it's a tough matchup. But we also got it's Carrington Valentine out there playing really, really well. Again, if his hands weren't made of rocks, like we talk about him a little differently than we have been, but he's got if you talk about two guys on the outside that have the mentality of cornerbacks you want to go up against these receivers, it's Nixon and Valentine, who just will talk, who just will, like, it doesn't matter what happens. They're getting up for the next rep. They're going to jam you. They're going to hit you. They're going to be physical, and they're going to talk. And if McCarthy starts sailing a couple and Valentine's just jawing at Jefferson, I don't think this goes well for the Vikings. So, I mean, on paper, it looks like a mismatch, just with McCarthy pulling the trigger and the way I think Valentine's playing and the way Nixon can have those high level plays. Again, they're going to give up some. Like that's just the nature of the beast. They're going to give up some, but I don't think they're going to get torched in this game.
We've talked so much, the 5 of the last 7 games are in division, and the other 2 are against Baltimore and Denver, which should be 2 big tests. No. This starts that kind of gauntlet in the NFC North, but the Vikings aren't exactly the Vikings. Big picture wise, as we look at the last 7 games, coming off a week, last week it was all, do you blame Love or do you blame LaFleur for, scoring negative 18 points against the Eagles or whatever they did. But big picture wise, how do you see this, the rest of this inconsistent Packers team that has consistently played to its opponent? How do you see them developing over the last 2 months of the season as they do try to make a playoff run?
Yeah, I mean, this game and this one, I'm very curious about the North stuff. I mean, the Vikings, we'll see what they do against the Vikings. I have a good feeling about this one. The Lions have been a little inconsistent. The Bears game will be a big one just because that run game is pretty good, and that's where the Packers have struggled. I think the Packers are well set. I mean, really more than the offense. I think I have more faith in the offense than a lot of people. If you look at like what the defense has done, what the defense has given up in terms of like modern defense, you don't want to give up explosives, you want to slow play at stuff. Dude, the Giants had 68 plays this past week. The Packers had 51 on offense. Like it's tough to get in a rhythm. It's if you go 3 and out, if you go 4 and out at a certain point, like you've lost one. And then if they're just churning down 14 play drives, like you're shortening the game, and that's tough. So I am curious to see going forward. The big thing for me, can they take this? Can they elevate to the next level? Not only as like a team that obviously like storms in the playoffs, but can maybe do something in the playoffs as well. What does this defense do? Can you get those takeaways? The takeaways been coming a little bit more. Can you just not give up, 4 yards on 3rd and 6 and then a 4th down? Like, can you tighten up? I think the defense as a whole has been well coached, but there's been a lack of aggression in some of that stuff that we kind of saw earlier in the season. Can they get back to that where they're not just, we're going to sit back in zone, we're going to give you what you give you, we're going to rally and tackle, because one blown tackle or a couple 4th down conversions, and suddenly like the offense has to play catch up when the offense should not be having to play catch up. So that's the biggest thing for me. I have faith in the offense. I think the offense is going to be fine. I think the offense has been fine. It's the defense for me, not playing a little more aggressive, a little less, I don't want to say passive because I don't think that's what they've been. But they have been kind of giving up a little more than you would hope, thinking like, well, they need to be perfect all the way down. And then defenses or offenses have been kind of perfect all the way down. But we saw this past week, right? Like Jameis got sacked on that 4th down. Like that the defense is doing what you're needing it to do. It's just, you're giving up too much time on that. And it just kills them sometimes.
Agreed.
Is a return of Lucas Van Ness that easy of a solution? Because there is 2 defenses, it feels like, this year with Green Bay. It's when Van Ness was a part of it and when Van Ness was not a part of it. And I never thought I would develop that take from the hatred I felt like I was spewing about Lucas Van Ness. But I also tried to warm up to Rashawn Gary this year, and now he's MIA as well, Dusty. So is Lucas Van Ness that important to the defense right now to have him come in as a rotational piece or cheetah package whenever they bring that apart? Is that someone that if he's ready to go and maybe possibly back this week or in a week or 2 down the line, like could that be someone that it's as easy as getting him put back into his place on this defense to really start to see something again out of Green Bay?
Yeah, I think it could be. I mean, that is, you've missed that rotation on the line. I do think, some of the interior too. Interior has been a little thin, and I don't think Wyatt's 100% healthy either. And so I think that's killed them a little bit. But you do hopefully, I mean, LVN and then Gary and then Enigbari's been good this year, but like he's a little limited as a player. If you're kind of subbing LVN into some of the Enigbari stuff, and then maybe you get Gary a little more rest or Enigbari, would like however you want to mix that with. If LVN's playing like he was earlier in the season, which I don't think he was a game wrecker, but he's a difference maker on that line, I do think that helps. And then if Wyatt can get a little healthier, I think that helps as well. It's just that interior has just not been quite as good as you kind of hoped with like all the preseason stuff with like Stackhouse, and they bring Brinson out and all that. Like they've just, has been good, but Brooks has been pushed around a little bit. Like the interior has not been great, but hopefully LVN does help shore some of that stuff up.
Well, and staying on the defense and kind of combining your last two answers about the takeaways. Does LVN make any difference when it comes, like, do they just need to hold on to interceptions, or is there something? I mean, I'm looking at total takeaways in the league, and the Packers are tied for fourth worst.
Yeah.
They're at 8. They're tied with the Cowboys, 8 takeaways for the entire season. The Giants and the Commanders have 6 takeaways. The Jets, by the way, have 1 takeaway all season long
with the defensive head coach.
Right.
The way,
that's insane. But is it just like I know there's a randomness to it. You know, you force a fumble. Who recovers the fumble? A ball gets popped in the air. Who does it get popped to?
Yeah.
It's an oblong ball. It's not a circular ball. It's going to bounce weird sometimes. But is this something that could even out over the last 7 games with a team that does seem to have all the intangibles to get more takeovers? Does it become more tangible in the last 7 weeks?
You would hope, and again, some of that does come down to, I think, some of the way they play defense. I mean, they will do a lot of games up front, but the back end a lot is sit back, they fan those linebackers out, they play some spot drop, you're getting eyes on the quarterback, you're getting some of that stuff. But if you're getting the ball out quickly, the chances for interceptions just aren't there. If you're pressing a little bit more, if you press guys at the line, you're bringing pressure up front. If you're forcing those guys, brother, granted, Jameis Winston should have thrown 4 interceptions, but if you're not forcing guys to throw 15 yards down the field multiple times a game, those interception chances, like those aren't there. We saw what McKinney did last year. The chances haven't been there this year. Like it's very rarely have they gone downfield. And so if you can kind of tighten up and then you're forcing them to push the ball a little bit more, I think that helps. Again, the fumble stuff is always going to be a little wonky. They've been ripping at the ball. It hasn't been coming. Even you mentioned the turnover stuff. Like one of them was this past game, was the last play of the game when they strip sack Jameis Winston when he's trying to chuck a ball 70 yards or whatever it was. Like that one barely counts. Like it counts and that they close it out. That's like not an in-game thing. And so I do think and that's where I'm like, in some of the passive stuff with the linebacker, some of the way they're kind of playing that kind of zone up front, if they tighten that stuff up and you're forcing them to execute a little further down the field, especially in this game against JJ McCarthy, I think those chances come. It's just the way they've been playing. We want you to be perfect. If teams are taking 5 to 7 yards a pop, those chances just aren't there. And I feel like interceptions you can count on a little bit more for this team than fumbles, and they're just not there if you're forcing them to just like, all right, we'll give you, if it's going to get you an 8 out of 3 yards, like you're not going to get a lot of interception opportunities.
Dusty Evely, Acme Packing Company. Follow him on Twitter at Dusty Evely. Okay, I'll spin it to a little bit of a positive tone to this conversation. Christian Watson. I mean, could you look any better right now to the return from the ACL injury? And when you lose a guy like Tucker Kraft, who is the obvious number 1 option and the guy that this offense wants to rely on, Christian Watson seems like the only guy willing to take on the challenge of at least trying to rebuild trust for a number 1 option with Jordan Love. What have you seen from his game that really stands out to you right now? And can he develop into that guy that's going to be a massive part of the success of this Packers team in 2025?
Man, I hope so, man. Dude's just an absolute monster. Like, and not just as a receiver, the speed. I mean, both of those touchdown catches were just the straw. Like, dude's trying to rip the ball out of his hands and was not letting go. Like, just absolute insane. You've got some of that. He's great as a blocker. You've had a whole lot of like the insert block stuff where like he motions down between the tight end and the end of the line there, and then he'll release through there because you'll block stuff out of there. He'll release through there. They've been getting him on some of that stuff. So you've got like the versatility because you have to respect him as a blocker because he's so good there. And the biggest thing for me, I mean, we saw it in this game. I think we're going to see it going forward. And then next season as well. I looked at a bunch of like the best red zone scoring teams over the past couple of years. And there's a lot of things that go into it. You can scheme that stuff up. The biggest stuff, like the 3 main ingredients you need a good running game, or you need like a freak wide receiver, or you need a quarterback who is an elite scrambler. Packers didn't really have that this year. And now Watson, they've got like that freak wide receiver who like, oh, we'll just throw it up to him. We'll throw it up to that guy. And you don't necessarily want to throw 50-50 balls there, but the guy can come up with it. Like that is one of the answers. And so not just this season, but next season, like it opens up stuff in the field. You get some shot plays, you get some explosives out of this stuff as well. If you get him on the crossers and you get Yak that way, that's great. But I think where he makes a huge difference is just the red zone. So the question with him has always been, can he stay healthy? His catch rate's been tremendous the past 2 years. Can he stay healthy? And if he can, I think there's every reason to think they extended him for a reason. Like I think there's every reason to believe that he can be a huge piece of this offense, both scoring in the red zone and just functioning as normally. We've seen what a difference he made this year and next year. It's just, can he stay healthy? He's always been a little dinged up. He's missed time, but he's been a monster since he's been in there the past 2 or 3 years at this point.
He's been awesome to watch, no doubt about it. Dusty, let everybody know, what are you working on this week? What are you looking for this week? You know, we already talked about what you're looking forward to this weekend against the Vikings, but what are you specifically working on, and where can we find your stuff?
Yeah, find me at Acme Packing Company. I got a couple things up now. One that's a passing game review from the Giants game. One that is Josh Wiley. We wrote about Josh Wiley this past week. I'm working on something, hopefully be out tomorrow, that's on kind of a preview of the game, kind of looking at, one of the things I like to look at is like, how can you generate explosives against the team coming up? And so looking at like the best ways to generate explosive against the Vikings team. So I'm working on that tonight. Hopefully that'll be out tomorrow. And you can find all that stuff on Acme Packing Company.
Awesome. Dusty, thank you so much for joining us. We'll definitely talk to you soon.
Appreciate you, fellas. Thank you so much.
You bet. Absolutely. That's Dusty Evely, Acme Packing Company. Find him at Dusty Evely and just Google Acme Packing Company. It's all right there. He joined us on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. It is time for our weekly picks coming up here on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. Mason has sent in his picks, Tommy. I know you were nervous. But don't be nervous.
He was probably listening. He was like, "Oh, right. I better send these
I better get them in. These guys are gonna blah blah blah."
Keep the operation smooth.
Oh, that nice.
Yeah. Snap, hold, kick, man.
I like how you think of it like so logically. Meanwhile, I'm like, "Oh, I'm Mason Crosby. These guys are gonna be mean to me," and blah 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 blah. Like, all right, that's not a Mason impression, by the way.
That's pretty good.
I don't know what that was. No one does. He's Tommy Wirtz. I'm Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. Middays with Thunder, right here on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers.